They said Mayor Adams. Yeah, he showed up to court today. This guy's hilarious. I ain't gonna lie. Did y'all see him? Oh. Nah, I don't want to go back to it. Or I'll maybe go back to it later. Mayor Adams turning himself in. So he went into the same courtroom as
Eric Adams becomes the first New York City mayor to be criminally charged while in office. The unsealed indictment reveals the charges, including conspiracy to commit wire fraud, solicitation of a contribution by a foreign national, bribery, and more.
Looking live now at Gracie Mansion, where the mayor spoke earlier today, joined by supporters from the faith community. Adams said the federal charges were not a surprise, and he is planning to fight the case.
We have team coverage for you of the charges and reaction from Gracie Mansion to the prosecutor's office and more. Marsha Kramer has analysis of the political fallout for Adams.
Let's begin at U.S. District Court along Foley Square. Alice Gaynor was there as prosecutors laid out the case. Alice, we just learned that the mayor will be in court tomorrow.
That's right. We just got it confirmed that Mayor Eric Adams will appear before a judge tomorrow here at federal court in Lower Manhattan sometime around noon. Earlier today, the U.S. Attorney for the Southern District of New York, the FBI, and the city's Department of Investigation all spoke at a news conference. They did not take any questions from reporters, but they did note this is yet another example, a stinging example of the fact that no one is above the law.
The indictment, more than 50 pages long, accuses Mayor Adams of seeking and accepting improper gifts like luxury travel and illegal campaign contributions from wealthy foreign business people and at least one Turkish government official. A timeline displayed of Adams' alleged undisclosed travel dating back to 2016 lists about $100,000 in benefits. Travel to India, France, Hungary, Turkey, Ghana, and China.
The mayor had a duty to disclose these gifts on his annual public disclosure forms so that the public could see who was giving him what.
U.S. Attorney for the Southern District of New York, Damian Williams, says there were strings attached, with the Turkish government official allegedly telling Adams it was.
So if you don't know why this guy's like charged, foreign governments cannot interfere with the happenings of a U.S. election, and apparently this guy absolutely went around that, including what the fuck is this? Including accepting bribes from, not bribes, but like donations from the country of Turkey. Which, by the way, you have to imagine, if Turkey wants to influence or want to donate to whatever you got going on in New York City, must have some type of motive. Now, apparently they had like buildings that was owned by either individuals that were high-ranking in the Turkey government, or just like people in Turkey that, you know, for example, he approved like an inspection, or he approved the building to open without the building passing inspection. Why? Because one of the people who donated to him supposedly through straw campaign donations. And what that is that, like, there's a lot of rules to campaign donations. Like, each donor and specific donors have a limit on how much they could donate over a certain point. Now, he's trying to fund a re-election campaign. So say somebody wanted to donate twice the amount that's allowed. What they would do is they would donate the max themselves. Then they would give other people the money to start donating, like give it to 5 people and they could break up the money and give it. That's illegal still because it came from the one source. And especially if there's an understanding by the person getting the donation, Eric Adams, that one person donated twice the amount. It just came through 5 other straw donators or whatever. That is legally just wrong.
Was his turn to support Turkey. That in 2021, this official was trying to open a new Manhattan high-rise housing Turkey's consulate in time for a visit from that country's president.
But the FDNY's fire safety professionals wouldn't let the building open because the building hadn't passed. And
by the way, Karina, thank you for the 10. I'm sorry I didn't see that. She said Drake said he was going to slit his throat in that buried alive snippet before he meet the Grams, or not like us drop. Accurate, had no issue with that. Hey, Karina, I've stayed very firm on this, that both rappers have rapped about violence, okay? Both rappers have rapped about violence. Facts. They've talked violently about it. None of them have came out to send a message to their fans, to their supporters, to anybody else who would be, affected by this. We've seen in the past you know, even if we go back to Tupac and Biggie, when you see there was a lot of signaling to the public, either by the record labels, there was at times that Suge Knight himself had to, actually because he was being pushed by the record labels, but even Diddy had to come out and say, hey, listen, this East Coast, West Coast beef, it's not that, this is musical, blah, blah, blah. With Drake and Kendrick, neither of them has said shit. They've just disappeared like they normally do. So I'm telling y'all that the accountability is going to stay with both of them. Not only blaming Kendrick, I'm blaming Drake too. You get what I'm saying? Like, this is a thing. Like, if you think about other genres of music, like, shit, the Jamaican government pretty much forced Vybz Kartel and Mavado at a point where they had kids stabbing each other up over them perceiving the beef to be that real. They were like, it's like, you guys are a gully, and people would fight over that, right? Like, people pick sides. Again, I do think the musicians have to take some responsibility, especially when they're making a brunt of the money from all this. So again, if they're not denouncing it, if they're not speaking on it, if they're not doing efforts to say, hey, yo, I don't want nobody who either supports me, and the other guys should come out and say nobody who supports me to engage in any type of violence on our behalf. We don't support that. And I know y'all might be like, well, that should go without a question. No, people are dumb, okay? And there's a bunch of people on both sides that are probably trying to get brownie points from Kendrick or from Drake. And shit, you know, I also think Drake was wrong in following the guy who did the shit to Rick Ross, or even posting up that video saying, yo, I'm having a good day today. No, don't take credit in that, because if somebody knocked somebody's head off on your team, how you gonna feel? So I've been very consistent in that point. I think both rappers have been lacking in not diffusing the issues that seemingly is building that came from their songs, right? Like, they should denounce it. Yo, if you fuck with me, Kendrick should say this. If you fuck with me, you shouldn't do that. Drake should say this too. If you fuck with me, it's just music. You should do nothing like that. And again, I know y'all love with these artists not saying anything, but this is also the result. Obviously, it hasn't gone anywhere yet, but just imagine Biggie and Tupac not making any pub, because all these rappers think they're too cool to just put out a fucking statement, right? Like, they just think they're too fucking cool. Imagine Tupac and Biggie just dropping them songs. I fucked your bitch. This nigga said, yo, who shot you? Let's separate the weak. Come on, bro. Like, there would be a lot more ramifications that were side effects and that would have happened beyond the main guys getting killed. I think the reason why these new rappers, or let's just say current day today, Drake's a superstar, Kendrick's a superstar. If any of them had any legitimate threat of somebody knocking their head off, they would definitely put out a statement. But there is none. If anybody gets hurt in this battle or this beef or whatever it is, it's not going to be Drake. It's not going to be Kendrick. And that's why I think both of them are very, you got to blame them. Because when a nigga don't have zero risk of getting hurt, and he's putting out the messages when he's going against somebody else, and he's not even telling his supporters, because yes, fans, you see, look on Twitter, the fans are getting into it. I see some of these fans going real hard for either side, right? Fans are going to get into it. Street niggas who are going to get into it. Again, this is, I think, the incompetence of both rappers, and I think it's only because these guys are pushing hundreds of millions in net worth, and you're not going to hurt none of them. So what's going to happen? The nigga who don't have nowhere to go, who only just has a gun, or this guy who's trying to get back with Kendrick, they're going to do some shit. So it is what it is. So blame the rappers, and I never said it was only Kendrick. Both. All right.
An inspection. And not just that. Some of the people at FDNY thought the building had so many issues and defects that the building was not safe to occupy.
Adams is accused of pressuring the fire department.
The FDNY professionals were convinced that they would lose their jobs if they didn't back down. And so they did. They got out of the way and let the building open.
The mayor held a news conference defending himself, repeating his mantra often stated at press conferences that he follows the law, but was first interrupted by hecklers before he began and at other times throughout.
This is a youth thing, Eric Adams. I ask New Yorkers to wait to hear our defense before making any judgments. From here, my attorneys will take care of the case so I can take care of the city. My day-to-day will not change. I will continue to do the job for 8.3 million New Yorkers that I was elected to do.
He was surrounded by supporters.
I've known this young man for over 40 years. I come with a heavy heart today, but my head is not unbowed.
All right.
He's going to have his day in court, and we're going to stand by him.
The U.S. Attorney also had this message for anyone who may know something. Come forward now before it's too late. He says this investigation is very much ongoing. Live in Lower Manhattan, Alice Gaynor, CBS News, New York.
Okay, Alice, thank you.
Well, despite the mayor's news conference there with supporters saying that he should be given a chance to prove his innocence.
Okay, anyway, that's a full coverage. Where's the shit where he walked in today, man?
Eric Adams.
Yeah. Had this
Of the
described in the indictment. Christina Maurice.
Okay, Tim, thank you.
And all told here, if Mayor Adams is convicted on all the charges in the indictment, he could face up to 45 years.
All right, we have a team of reporters covering this historic arraignment. Let's kick things off with Morgan Mackay
So we got a rain today.
Outside Manhattan Federal Court. Morgan.
Stephen, Natasha, Mayor Eric Adams' arraignment lasted less than 20 minutes, but we're just learning that while all this was playing out over here in Brooklyn, investigators were carrying out a raid at the home of Adams' second in command, his top advisor, Ingrid Lewis Martin. Now, Lewis Martin has known Adams for roughly 40 years, and she describes herself as Adams' sister ordained by God. She's also been one of his top aides since 2006. Federal and state investigators reportedly met Lewis Martin at JFK, where she was returning from Japan. According to her lawyer, investigators seized her cell phones and served her with a grand jury subpoena. She was not home while investigators raided her house. It's unclear right now if Lewis Martin, if this raid is in any way connected to Adams. Now, Adams is due back in court on Wednesday, and her lawyer says that he will be moving to dismiss the case at that point.
This case isn't even a real case. This is the airline upgrade corruption case.
But prosecutors are accusing Mayor Eric Adams of taking more than $100,000 worth of free plane tickets and luxury hotel stays from wealthy Turkish nationals for nearly a decade. Mayor Eric Adams stood by his lawyer without saying a word.
By the way, that lawyer is...
And luxury hotel stays from wealthy Turkish nationals for nearly a decade. Mayor Eric Adams stood by...
This is Alex Spiro, which is Rock Nation's lawyer, Meg Thee Stallion's lawyer, Jay-Z's lawyer. Very, very notorious and very powerful guy.
By his lawyer without saying a word.
Also Alec Baldwin's lawyer.
Adams had arrived at the courthouse a little before 9 a.m. to be booked, fingerprinted, and his mugshot taken. Then, at exactly noon, the judge took the bench. Adams stayed just as silent as he was outside, never looking back at the press crowded behind him, and said only 3 sentences, including, quote, "I am not guilty, Your Honor." Adams is facing 5 federal charges that include bribery and solicitation of a contribution by a foreign national. Prosecutors allege that Adams took bribes in exchange for favors and orchestrated a straw donor scheme that allowed foreign nationals and corporations to contribute to his campaign. These alleged illegal donations allowed Adams to qualify for more than $10 million in public campaign funds.
This was a multi-year scheme to buy favor with a single New York City politician on the rise, Eric Adams.
Adams was warned by the judge to not have any contact with the witnesses named in the indictment. Prosecutors say they will provide his lawyer, Alex Spiro, with a list of names.
The entire body of evidence is one staffer that says there was a conversation. What you have not learned is that that staffer has lied, and the government is in possession of that lie.
Now, Spiro, Adams' lawyer there, is reportedly referring to one of Adams' top aides, Reina Absavo. Now, she is the only member of Adams' team that was suspended without pay following an FBI raid at her home. And federal investigators are reportedly cooperating with her throughout this entire investigation. Reporting live, I'm Morgan Mackay. Stephen, Natasha, back to you.
All right, Morgan, we know the mayor's attorney charges $2,200 an hour, so a lot of people are wondering who's footing the bill for his legal fees.
So according to Adams' spokesperson, the city and taxpayers are not paying for Adams' legal fees. Now, back when Adams was first raided by the FBI.
Yo, $2,200 an hour. Wow.
And his cell phones were seized back last year. He set up a legal defense fund, which he's allowed to do. And within 2 months at the beginning of the year, he had raised more than $700,000 from this legal campaign fund. And some of those people that donated this campaign fund include former Mayor Bloomberg.
All right, Morgan, thank you so much. Well, there are two prominent attorneys at the center of Mayor Adams' case. One is Damian Williams, the U.S. Attorney for the Southern District of New York. The other, Alex Spiro, as you just heard, and that's the mayor's defense attorney.
All right, Fox 5's Antoine Lewis here now with a closer look at what each of them bring to the table. Antoine.
Stephen, let's do it. On the one hand, you have a celebrity defense lawyer who has never lost a case, going up against a seasoned federal litigator who's never represented any celebrities, but he's indicted a few. Alex Spiro, the attorney representing Mayor Adams, is no stranger.
Wait, he's never lost a case? Niggas are Floyd Mayweather lawyers. Of course he worked for Rock Nation.
To high-profile cases. Spiro represented actor Alec Baldwin on involuntary manslaughter charges for the 2021 accidental shooting on the set of the film Rust. The case was dismissed without prejudice in July. Rapper Jay-Z turned to Spiro for help when fellow rapper 21 Savage was facing deportation charges in 2019. And rapper Megan Thee Stallion turned to Spiro when she was sued by a cameraman for sexual harassment earlier this year.
He hails from the Manhattan District Attorney's Office, which is certainly a great place to start.
Spiro is also a personal friend and confidant of billionaire Elon Musk and was heavily involved with Musk's takeover of Twitter and its relaunch as X. New York Attorney Jeremy Salan knows Spiro from his days as a Manhattan prosecutor. He tells me that an impressive client resume weighs little in a courtroom, despite a winning track record.
So you have to be cognizant of where you are and who you're before. And if you have that sort of celebrity view, that doesn't help you. And if you walk in there like you own the place, you may impress your client for a brief period of time, but it ain't going to work in anyone's courtroom and before any judge.
As the indictment alleges, Mayor Adams engaged in a long-running conspiracy.
Yo, Chad, on a regular work week, if he works 40 hours at $2,200 an hour, that's $88,000 a week. Yo, lawyers be getting it, bro. $88,000 a week. And by the way, that's probably just his hourly rate, right? Like if his law firm, like he probably owns his law firm or he's a partner, if they're representing you, you're going to have to be paying mad other fees. That's just for him. Then you probably got to pay fees for paralegals. You got to pay fees for these other people who are doing, like all these other shit. So just kind of show you how lawyers really be getting it. I know y'all be saying these rappers got the bag, but y'all want to see the bag? $2,200 an hour, 40 hours a week. That's if he has 40 billable hours in terms of representation. $88,000. And what they do with lawyers, if they always round up, so they go in increments of half an hour or an hour. So if he gets on the phone, talks for 10 minutes with the prosecutor, he bills you for $1,100. He bills you for 30 minutes. And if he talks for 31 minutes, he bills you the whole $2,200. That's just how they go. It's crazy. They fucking send you trust me, I'll be seeing this shit. I'll be like, yo, god damn. What the fuck? Lawyers be getting it, bro.
And bringing corruption cases to trial has long been a focus for Damian Williams, the Southern District of New York U.S. Attorney who indicted Adams earlier this week.
This is why I know we didn't play this